Okay, so I just got back from seeing Suicide Squad, and what the fuck did I just watch? What happened with this movie? This movie lies to you. It lies right to your face, and you don't even realize it. But okay, before we get into where this review is inevitably going to go, let's talk about the positives of this movie. First of all, this movie has a fantastic soundtrack. Now, if you've seen any of my other reviews, you know how much I like music in a movie. And this movie does a very good job of using music throughout it to establish feeling and theme and everything like that. Even though some of the songs kind of feel out of place or just like tacked on. Like they had a song available and they went, fuck it, we're going to throw it on this scene, even though it doesn't really fit. Every character that's introduced, like every main character, has a song that's kind of corresponding with them at the start of this movie. And it's really good. It really adds like to their characters. So it works really well in that regard. The characters in this movie, for the most part, are pretty good. Really, there's only three that stand out to me. Rick Flag, Deadshot, Harley Quinn. I mean, those are really the only three that kind of do anything in this movie. Killer Croc barely does anything. El Diablo does like one thing kind of at the end. But it really is just focused on more of these three. I mean, really, this movie could have just been called Deadshot the Movie. That's how much focus is on that particular character. And I'll get to the characters in just a little bit and explain more of what I liked and what I didn't like. Now, for this review, there are going to be some spoilers in it, just little stuff, but I'm going to put them in there just so you don't have to see this god-awful piece of crap. So, let's talk about the storyline of Suicide Squad, or really, it's just DC's version of Fantastic Four. Like, this movie, it's so wildly cliched and generic. I've seen this movie 1,000 times in other fucking movies. It falls apart after like 45 minutes. Now, that being said, the first 45 minutes of this movie are really, really good, and it won me over. I looked at my brother once all the characters were introduced, and I was like, okay, we're off to a good start. And then it just slowly falls apart into this gray, mashy, slow-mo fucking piece of crap that's so wildly just boring. Like, I knew everything that was going to happen in this movie before it happened. And that's very dangerous for a movie. Because me as a moviegoer, I like to see stuff in movies that I've never seen before. I like to see shots. I like to see scenes and special effects and things like that. And this movie hit none of those levels. Everything that I saw in this, I was like, that reminds me of Hellboy. Or this reminds me of Black Hawk Down. Or whatever. It's just, it did nothing to leave a lasting impression on me. And this movie is utterly forgettable. Now, when I say that this movie lies to you, what I mean is, all the promotional work, so this stuff, like the colors and the crazy backgrounds and the comic booky feel that were shown in all of the promotional work for this, be it on social media, Instagram, advertisements, whatever, set this movie up for a particular theme and a particular style. It's going to be colorful, it's going to be comic-y, it's going to have like booms and bams and all this sort of stuff going on in it. And for the first kind of half hour, 45 minutes of this movie, it is doing that. Every character that gets introduced is like doing a thing, and then it like stops and it has their information kind of come up, which it's like a superhero baseball card is really what it boils down to. And then after about 45 minutes or an hour, it just falls apart. It just like changes its pace. It was almost like somebody watched Guardians of the Galaxy and went, this is really fun and lovable and great music. And then somebody else saw Deadpool and was like, fuck it, we gotta change this movie to be more like this and give it like action and violence and grr. But that's where the problem comes in, because this movie desperately needed to be rated R. This needed the blood and the gore and the violence and the swearing and like even nudity and shit like that. You're doing a movie about villains and you're making it PG. The fuck is that about? The funny thing is with this movie, there was a kid sitting behind me in the theater. He could have been more than maybe 10. He had no idea what the fuck was going on. He said at one point to his dad, "What's going on?" He was like, "Daddy, what's happening? Are these good guys or bad guys?" And the dad's like, "Well, they're good guys." And he's all like, "Why are they being good then if they're bad?" I'm like, thank you. You just summed up this entire fucking movie because it loses everything that it was trying to go for. It just falls apart. It's so cliched. I don't even know how to describe it just by saying it's generic. It's forgettable. So the story in this movie, the Enchantress, who's pretty much the villain, gets free, frees her brother, who's the Enchantor. I don't even think he has a name. She just calls him my brother. Like, I don't think he actually has a name. I don't think they say his name in this movie. And basically, he's just a big fire dude with like a guy's face CGI'd onto his face. It looks really out of place, and it's a pretty shitty design, to be perfectly honest. But Enchantress's whole thing, much like Doctor Doom in Fantastic Four, is like, I'm going to build a machine. Oh, sorry, let me do it the way that she moves. I'm going to build a machine to destroy the world. Right when I saw that, I was like, why? Why? Why are you doing Doctor Doom's thing? It's almost the exact same looking thing. It's a big lightning beam shot into the sky that's creating a big asshole. It's a big circular asshole in the sky that farts out lightning. That's what it is. God fucking God! So let's talk about the characters in this movie. As I've said before, this is Deadshot the movie. And that's the great thing. Deadshot carries this movie. Will Smith is Deadshot. He's funny in it. Wait. Did I just say funny? There's humor in a DC movie? Holy shit! Deadshot totally carries this movie. He's funny, he's charming, he has the best background. He's dealing with the I'm trying to be a good dad, but I'm also an assassin kind of thing. And it's really interesting. It gives him some weight. It gives him some actual like character in this movie that you care about. And that's great for his character. Harley Quinn, on the other hand, terrible. Terrible design, terrible look. It was like a girl was trying to do an impression of somebody doing an impression of Harley Quinn. Everything that she said in this movie fell flat. When she gave her lines, I didn't hear one giggle from anybody in that theater. When she was like, "We're bad guys, it's what we do." And all that shit, and like, "Oh, the voices in my head, behind it there. Oh, there, put in Mr. J, Mr. J, Mr. J." It was like, fuck me, you're bastardizing the Harley character. You're wearing some like shit from Hot Topic. You pull out your fucking hammer that you don't use. You pull out your actual costume, the red and black costume, that you then don't use. Like, you might as well have just pulled out a giant middle finger and been like, "Here you go, fans! This is what you fucking want! Fuck you!" My personal favorite Harley scene in this movie is like a flashback where she's wearing that costume dancing with the Joker. It's a very Alex Ross-esque look, and it was beautiful. And I'm like, if you had the costume, why didn't you just fucking use it? But nope, we gotta fucking make her like a hipster thing going on and put tattoos all over her fucking face. It's just, they ruined her. They ruined her. Rick Flag, again, he's Soldier Guy. He's Soldier Guy in love with Enchantress. That's all you need to know about him. Captain Boomerang has some pretty good lines in this movie, but again, his name's Captain Boomerang, and he throws like 2, maybe 3 boomerangs in this entire movie. He does jack shit in this movie. Again, Killer Croc, he has a great design actually. When he's not wearing that like hoodie thing, they should have just not had him in that, because his actual design looks really good. But again, he doesn't like do anything in this movie. He does one thing at the end. He swims under some water to grab a bomb. That's it. And he doesn't even grab the bomb. It's a soldier guy that grabs the bomb. Like, like they just didn't use anybody. And of course, we get Slipknot. Him, you know, the guy that can climb anything. Wow, he should be on our superhero team because he can climb shit. Fuck me. And he dies, like, right off the bat. He swings up and they blow up his head. And again, if this was rated R, much like Deadpool, you would see him, like, hanging there in blood and ooze and shit. But no, his head just blows up and they're all like, huh, alright, well, I guess we do have bombs in our neck. Well, I guess we'll just move on then. It needed to be rated R. It needed to have that, like, weight and grit to it that it deserved. Now, let's talk about my biggest problems with this movie. Those weren't even the big problems with this movie. The action in this movie is so utterly forgettable. It didn't do anything interesting. The first major fight scene that you have in this movie, they're all just like standing behind cars shooting at putties. I'm just going to call them putties from Power Rangers because that's kind of what they look like. They're just running at them going like, and they're just standing there shooting at them. And it begged the question of, why the fuck is the Suicide Squad even here? Like, why are they part of this team? I mean, El Diablo's just kind of standing there going, I don't do this anymore. Fucking Katana's standing there just looking at her sword. Like, Deadshot and Harley and Rick Flag are the only, like, three that actually really do anything in this movie. It's so painful, and started begging that question of, like, why is Captain Boomerang here? He doesn't do anything. Like, again, he throws a boomerang that has, like, a camera on it so he can see a thing. But, just fuck. Not to mention the god-awful fight at the end, which is almost a shot-for-shot remake of the Fan-fucking-tastic 4 movie with Dr. Doom standing in front of the beam of light going blah blah blah. That's what Enchantress is doing. She's standing there going like, you must all join me, my children. Bow at my feet. If you don't, I'm going to destroy the world. It's just so fucking stupid and silly. And how do they beat her? They throw a fucking bomb at the thing and it blows up and that stops it. Oh, jeez. Now, the big problem with this end fight scene, it takes place in like this like piss cloud, this like yellowy piss vapory cloud that makes it very hard to see. Not to mention, every scene that's a fight scene has painful amounts of slow motion. Every time somebody does something like throws something, hits somebody with a bat, shoots something, it's like gotta dodge this. Like, even the end, Killer Croc throws the bomb and it's like, and then Deadshot pulls out his gun and is like, and the bullet going towards the bomb is like, it just, you couldn't fucking follow anything. And the fight scenes were just like so forgettable, especially this end boss. I even forgot that El Diablo fights the Big Brother guy. Like, that's how forgettable it is. It's just, it's nothing. El Diablo turns into like this big fire skeleton thing and they start tussling at one another. And then they like throw a bomb and blow him up. They blow up this like big god type guy with just like a C4 charge. Thanks for all those reshoots. Because that's the problem. You can, honest to God, tell where they started the reshoots. Because the change of pace and the style and the tone totally changed through this entire movie. It goes from this really beautiful, stylistic, kind of like comic book-esque movie to team fighting a villain. That's it. Now, the big thing at the end of this movie, and it's not really a spoiler because we've all seen the trailer for Justice League, is Batman sitting down with Amanda Waller, And he's like, I'll protect you. Or it's not even, sorry, not Batman. It's Bruce Wayne. Sorry, got those two confused, and you'll see why in a second. Bruce Wayne is sitting down with Amanda Waller going, I'll protect you, but you need to give me the dossiers of the people that I want. She's like, all right, I'm under your protection. Here's the Justice League. Here they are. And she's all like, leverage. And he's all like, no, friendship. And then she says to him, you should stop working nights because you look like shit. And he just turns, doesn't deny it. He's just like, whatever. Yeah, I agree. Like, what the fuck is the point of Batman's secret identity if everybody knows who he is? Lex Luthor knows who he is. Amanda Waller knows who he is. The Joker's gonna know who he is. I guarantee you fucking that shit. Like, does he go into Best Buy and pay with the Batman MasterCard for Batman and Robin? He just pulls it out and is like, I didn't leave the cave without it. Speaking of the Joker, I gotta throw this in. I still stand by, this Joker design is fucking terrible. I hate it. It doesn't work. It's garbage. His stupid slick back green hair with the spray that he bought from Party Packagers. His dumb silver jaws teeth from James Bond. All the stupid fucking tattoos. The lipstick that's kinda like painted on. And even the way he talked was so painful. Like, I just got hurt you really bad. All that shit talker's gonna get you into trouble. Just, it sounded like he had a load of jizz in his mouth that he was trying not to swallow. He's like, come to Johnny, baby. He didn't do it for me. Like, he is the worst rendition of the Joker thus far. Jack was better. Heath was better. Cesar Romero was better. Fucking Mark Hamill's way better. This is terrible. If you're gonna be the Joker, be fucking crazy. Be bananas. He was just like a kind of mobster guy with tattoos. There was nothing about him that I found intimidating or scary, and he didn't really have a good laugh. He was just kind of like, It was just, oh God, they fucked it up. They fucked him up. They fucked him up. They fucked Harley up. You took two beloved characters and you shit all over them because the director thought, I'm making this for the fans. No, you're fucking not. You're making this for yourself and to make money and for hipsters and shit and people who shop at motherfucking Hot Topic because that's what everybody's wearing. Harley's wearing Hot Topic. Fucking Captain Boomerang's wearing like a jacket from Hot Topic. It's just Hot Topic the fucking movie. This movie brought to you by Hot Topic. So, needless to say, I didn't like this movie. It could have been really good, and again, it gets off to a very good and promising start, but then it starts to lie to you. And I hate when a movie does that, because if you're setting up a tone and a theme, and then you shift away from that and give us something plain and boring and ordinary, well, fuck you then. You are not worth seeing in theaters. Wait for this shit to come onto Netflix so you can watch it for free. So, my final score for this movie is a 4 out of 10, which is shockingly higher than you would think. But I do give it points where it deserves points. It's got a great soundtrack. Will Smith really carries the scenes and carries the movie and gives you some comedy in this movie. It is really well paced. There's not a lot of lulls in there. It's just the action is so plain and generic and boring. This is like the summer of bad movies. Like, it's the summer of bad movies doing well. Like, Ghostbusters made money. This is making money. It's just, go support good movies like BFG and Star Trek Beyond. Go see stuff like that because they deserve your money. This shit, just wait for it to come out on Netflix. Seriously. If you saw this movie, let me know what you thought about it in the comments below. If you loved it, if you hated it, what you would keep, what you would change, what you thought of everybody's performance in this movie. Let me know what you thought about that. And if you haven't yet, please hit that subscribe button and don't forget to like this video as well. And as always, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all in the very next episode of Tender Gaming. We'll see you then.